Behavior. Oh, I hate that word. Usually when I hear that word, behavior, that's someone saying, handle your child, please, or your child's acting up and has bad behavior or is displaying some sort of behavior. Well, behavior is communication. That's what I firmly believe, and many of us do. And it could be the behavior, the way our children are showing up could be caused by a myriad of reasons. But where do we start? So the first place I suggest starting is really understanding and explaining, if we need to, that behavior is communication. Our child is trying to tell us something, show us something. There's something happening. They're responding to a stimulus that, or a trigger, or something that's uncomfortable, or they really just want to get our attention in some way. It's communication. So then what do we do with that? Well, the second thing to do, I suggest, is look at and see, is anything going on? Is anything wrong? Does your child have a pain or an irritation, or is there a hypersensitivity that's happening? Are there sounds or lights or smells or something that's getting in the way? And then that can help us really understand what is happening. My son was displaying bad behavior for a while, and I didn't know that he had a very bad stomach ache. It was because he has food sensitivities, and I didn't realize he had a new one. And it was causing so much pain, but he couldn't tell me except for to express himself in what some people would call aggressive behavior. So once I figured that out, I was able to address it, and the behavior changed. So how did I figure that out? Well, that's the third thing. Really try to communicate back with our kids. Find out, ask questions. What is going on? What is the trigger? If our children are verbal, we can ask them. We can explore that. If they're not verbal, like my son, it takes some observation on our part and giving choices and realizing that the choices are kind of narrow. So if there's a way that we can broaden that for our kids to communicate, do that. Perhaps they can type. Perhaps they can write or draw, or we can just expand the choices we're giving based on our observations, and possibly even saying, is there a pain in your body? Yes, no, something very basic. If I don't have a tool with me, paper, pen, iPad, something, I just use my hands. Is something bothering you? Yes or no? Is there a pain? Yes or no? And then show me, take my hand, take your hand, show me where it hurts. Or I might give choices or draw or use his communication device. But the point is to communicate back and forth and really try to understand from our child what's going on. Maybe there's not a pain. Maybe there's an irritation. Maybe there's someone that's just a trigger or bothering our child in that moment. But these are things that we can explore and find out, and then help our child, whether it's removing the trigger or explaining how to navigate an uncomfortable situation, and then eventually getting to a point where that's either no longer a trigger or the trigger is removed down the road. So without that information, it's much harder to help our child feel better and then communicate with us with a behavior that's more comfortable for everyone. So a great place to start is to really understand it is communication. Everything our children are doing, the way they're showing up is communication. And then really trying to understand what's going on and determine what's causing the behavior, and asking them, getting their input, having their voice heard, which is incredibly important for them and for us. But if we're going to better understand how they're feeling, how they're showing up every day, we need to hear from them.